The city is burning. Smoke rolls through the narrow streets, carrying the smell of timber, silk, and flesh. The gates have fallen. The defenders are dead or scattered, and the thunder of hooves still echoes beyond the walls. For the people inside, the battle is over. But for the noble families of the defeated city, a different fate is only beginning. When the Mongols conquered a place, they did not simply take land. They took people. And among the most valuable captives were noblewomen. These women were not just seen as individuals. They were symbols of power, lineage, and legitimacy. In Mongol warfare, conquest was both practical and political. Killing every enemy was not always useful. Sometimes it was more valuable to absorb the enemy's elite into the new order. Noblewomen became part of this strategy. When a city fell, soldiers gathered prisoners. Artisans were separated because they were useful. Scribes were kept alive. Skilled craftsmen were marched away in chains. And the noble families were identified carefully. The wives, daughters, and sisters of rulers, generals, and governors were taken into custody. These women were considered high-status captives. Their fate depended largely on their beauty, their family connections, and the rank of the Mongol who claimed them. For a Mongol warrior, victory brought rewards. Horses, armor, gold, and silks were all divided among the troops. But human captives were also part of the spoils of war. Noblewomen could be claimed by commanders, princes, or even the great Khan himself. To the Mongols, this was not simply an act of cruelty. It was a continuation of a steppe tradition where marriage and concubinage were political tools. Alliances were built through women. Bloodlines were strengthened through them, and power could pass through them. Many noblewomen were taken into the households of Mongol leaders as secondary wives or concubines. In Mongol society, elite men often had several wives, or concubines. In Mongol society, elite men often had several wives, each with her own tent, servants, and property. The chief wife held the highest authority, but other wives could still hold influence, especially if they bore sons. Some of these captured women lived harsh, lonely lives, far from their homelands. They were taken from palaces of stone and silk and brought into the windswept world of the steppe. Instead of marble halls, they now lived in felt tents. Instead of servants from noble families, they were surrounded by strangers speaking unfamiliar languages. But not all of them remained powerless. In Mongol society, women had more authority than in many settled civilizations. Elite women could manage camps, control herds, oversee trade, and even command troops. When their husbands were away on campaigns, it was often the wives who ruled in their place. Some captured noblewomen adapted to this new reality. They learned the language, they understood the customs, and in time some became influential figures within the Mongol court. History records several foreign-born women who rose to positions of importance. They advised rulers, managed territories, and acted as regents for young sons. Their children, born from Mongol fathers and noble mothers, became part of the ruling class. Through these women, entire dynasties were shaped. The Mongol Empire stretched from China to Eastern Europe. It included Persians, Turks, Russians, Chinese, and many other peoples. The ruling elite itself became a mixture of cultures and bloodlines, and noblewomen taken in conquest played a part in that transformation. But for many others, the story was far darker. Not every noblewoman was chosen by a prince or a commander. Some were given to lower-ranking soldiers. Others were sent away as gifts to allies or governors. Some were traded, exchanged, or used to cement political deals. In cities that resisted fiercely, the Mongols sometimes carried out mass killings. In those cases, even noble birth did not guarantee survival. Chroniclers from Persia, China, and the Islamic world wrote of entire royal families wiped out after failed rebellions or betrayals. And yet, the Mongols were not mindless destroyers, as some later legends suggested. They were calculating. They understood the value of legitimacy. Marrying into royal bloodlines could make it easier to rule conquered lands. In Persia, Mongol rulers married into local aristocratic families. In China, they took wives from noble lineages connected to the old imperial system. These unions helped stabilize their rule and gave their children claims to authority in different parts of the empire. To the Mongols, a noblewoman was not just a captive. She was a bridge between worlds. She carried the blood of kings. She carried knowledge of court customs. She could teach languages, etiquette, and diplomacy. And her children could inherit both Mongol strength and local legitimacy. But behind these political calculations were human lives. Imagine a princess raised in a palace, taught poetry, music, and courtly manners. One day her city falls. Her father is dead. Her brothers are gone. And she is placed on horseback and taken across endless grasslands. The world she knew disappears behind her. Ahead lies a new life, shaped by unfamiliar rules and unfamiliar people. Her fate now depends on the will of the man who claims her. Some women resisted. Some adapted. Some found ways to gain influence. Others vanished from the records, their names lost to history. What we know about their experiences comes mostly from chroniclers, Persian historians, Chinese officials, and European travelers. Many of them were horrified by Mongol conquests and described them in the darkest possible terms. Their writings are often the only voices that mention these women at all. The Mongols themselves left fewer written records, and when they did, they focused on victories, lineages, and rulers, not on the personal stories of captured noblewomen. So much of their suffering, and even their survival, remains invisible. What is clear is that the Mongol Empire was built not only through battles but through families, through marriages, through children born of conquest and alliance alike. The steppe tradition of absorbing the defeated elite helped the Mongols rule one of the largest empires the world has ever seen. But that system also meant that noblewomen often became living trophies of victory, caught between cultures, identities, and loyalties. Some rose to power. Some shaped dynasties. Many simply endured. And in the silent spaces between the chronicles, their stories linger, half remembered, half erased, carried across the winds of the steppe, just like the empire that claimed them.